You thought I was gone. You thought the monster you built had vanished. But you were wrong. For years, I stayed silent, hidden in the shadows you pushed me into. You believed that breaking me would be the end of my story, that I would stay shattered forever. You mistook my silence for defeat, my distance for weakness. What you did not see was the storm forming in that silence. Every scar, every sleepless night, every cruel word you threw at me became fuel. And now, the storm has arrived. I am not the same person you buried beneath your lies and betrayal. I am something stronger, sharper, darker. So tell me this, what happens when the villain you created refuses to stay buried? This is not a story about a comic book villain. This is about the version of a person that is shaped in the shadows. The part of you that is born when kindness is mistaken for weakness, when trust is shattered by betrayal, when every open door is slammed in your face, until the warmth inside you begins to fade. Villains like these are not born with sharp edges or cold hearts. They are created by the hands that once claimed to care for them. They are sculpted by words meant to wound, and by silence that cuts even deeper. Welcome to Phantom Focus, where we uncover the power behind pain and the strength that rises from the ashes. Because sometimes, the darkest chapters of our lives are not written by us, but by those who thought they were breaking us. Let me tell you the story of the villain they never expected, the one they mocked, the one they underestimated, the one they created with their own cruelty, the villain they thought was gone forever, until now. Before everything changed, I was different. I believed in people. I trusted too easily. I thought kindness could heal every wound, and loyalty would always be returned. I gave my heart to friends who promised to stand beside me. I believed their words because I wanted to see the good in them. But good intentions mean nothing when the ones you trust see your softness as weakness. The same people who smiled in my face whispered behind my back. The ones I would have fought for were the first to walk away when I needed them the most. It was not one single moment that broke me. It was the little things. The cruel jokes disguised as advice. The silence when I begged for help. The way they pretended not to notice when I started to fade. Each wound was invisible to the world, but heavy on my soul. There comes a time when a person realizes no one is coming to save them. That was the moment I stopped waiting. That was the day I stopped being their victim and started becoming their nightmare. The fall was not sudden. It happened slowly, like the quiet dimming of a flame. At first, I tried to hold on to the light that was left in me. I tried to forgive. I tried to believe that things would change if I kept being patient. But the nights grew longer, and the silence around me felt heavier than the words that had cut me. Every night I replayed their betrayals in my mind. Every cruel word echoed louder than the last. I stopped asking why they hurt me and started asking why I ever trusted them. Rage began to replace sadness. That rage became my armor. It built walls around me that no one could break through. The person I once was faded away. In the stillness of the dark, I stopped searching for someone to pull me out. I stopped expecting rescue. I realized that no one was coming. No one cared. That was when the change happened. I shed the skin of the broken soul they left behind and found the version of myself they feared the most. In the darkness, I found my true self, the version they never wanted to face. When I returned, I was not the same person who left. The world expected me to come back timid, apologetic, desperate for approval. They thought the scars would make me weaker. They thought I would crawl back, grateful for whatever scraps of respect they offered. But I came back different, stronger, quieter, sharper. Every step I took carried the weight of battles they would never understand. I no longer needed their validation because I had already survived without it. The ones who used to laugh at my silence began to notice that silence again. This time it was not weakness they saw, but strength. The same whispers that once mocked me now carried my name with a trace of fear. I did not need to raise my voice. I did not need to explain myself. My presence alone reminded them of what they had created. I was not here to ask for their forgiveness. I was not here to give them mine. I was here to take back my power. They had buried me once, but they did not realize that what they buried was a seed. Now that seed had grown into something unstoppable. The day of confrontation came quietly. There were no grand speeches, no shouting, no demands for apologies, just me standing there, face to face with the people who had once torn me apart. I could see it in their eyes before they even spoke. They recognized the change. I was not the person they remembered. I was no longer searching for their acceptance or begging for answers. The power had shifted. They tried to explain themselves, to justify their actions, but their words no longer carried weight. The pain they caused had already been transformed into strength. You cannot break someone twice, especially not the person you helped rebuild. I realized then that I no longer wanted revenge. I no longer needed to hurt them back, because standing there, I had already won. I was living proof that the version of me they tried to destroy had survived and evolved. I was the reminder of their failure, the evidence that their cruelty had only forged something stronger. I walked away without a single word of hatred. The villain they created was not driven by revenge. I was driven by freedom. Here is the truth. The villain is not always the bad guy. Sometimes the villain is the survivor. See, we are taught to fear the word villain because it sounds dangerous. But what if the danger lies in the ones who forced us into the shadows in the first place? The villain is often the result of pain that was ignored, kindness that was exploited, loyalty that was betrayed. You might feel broken now, but even broken pieces can be shaped into a weapon. The scars you carry are not proof of weakness. They are proof that you endured what others could not. The villain they created inside you is the part that refuses to stay silent when you are pushed down. It is the fire that keeps burning, even after everything else has turned to ash. You do not need revenge to prove your worth. You do not need their approval to rise. All you need is to understand the power you already hold. You were not destroyed. You were transformed. So let them fear the strength they once mocked. Let them witness the rise of the person they thought they buried. The villain you became is not their victory. It is your survival. They tried to bury you, but they did not realize they were planting a seed. Every betrayal, every scar, every night you spent wondering if you would ever rise again was only watering that seed. Look at you now, stronger, sharper, no longer defined by the people who tried to break you. Remember this, your pain was not meaningless. It shaped you into someone who cannot be easily broken again. The fire that burned you has now become the light that guides your way forward. You have the power to choose what comes next. You are not the person they tried to destroy. You are the proof that every fall can lead to a greater rise. So here you stand, not as the villain they feared, but as the storm they created. This is Phantom Focus, where we turn shadows into strength. If you have ever felt like the villain in someone else's story, remember this is your chance to write the ending. Your past may have built the darkness inside you, but your future is still yours to claim.